Hi everyone, my name is Sydney, and I want to talk to you today about the social credit system that is going to be enacted in China in 2020. Now, this is a very controversial topic right now simply because China has had a lot of backfall for them promoting this idea. There was an episode on a popular Netflix show called Black Mirror recently, and it's called Nosedive. I suggest taking a look at it since this is going to happen in our country soon after China is enacting it. Now, the important things to know about this episode is that it's about a social system that can rate individuals from 1 to 5 based on everyday interactions. Now, someone can come to you and say, hi, and you can say hi, and you can have a conversation, and then after that conversation, it's the right thing to do to send them what you thought of that conversation on a rating of 1 to 5. And people actually use this in the episode to show if they're okay to live in certain neighborhoods or if they're okay to buy train tickets, stuff like that. Now, even though on the show it seems like a total outlandish thought that nobody's going to ever think of again, however, it is happening currently, and it's going to be enacted in less than a year in China for the Chinese citizens to have to deal with. Now, I have a definition I wrote down for this because I feel like after thorough research, I know the best way to explain it in terms of for somebody who doesn't know about the social credit system yet. Now, the social credit system is meant to incentivize individuals to financially better themselves with prizes and punishments based on their credit scores and more. Now, I will explain what it will be based on, what it will do. This is going to be a presentation about what the system is and why we really need to raise our credit scores before the system comes in. Now, the difference between a good credit score and a bad credit score is on a scale of 300 to 800. If you have 700 and more, it's a good credit score. But if you have 649 and less, it's considered a bad credit score. Now I'm going to be using a cause and effect outline because I think that since the Chinese government has not enacted this yet, it's going to be a cause. But they don't actually know what the effect is going to be, so I'm going to be providing what several articles think is the effect's going to be and why the Chinese government is doing what they're doing currently. Now, the social credit system needs to happen according to a few sources. And why it's wanted is because the Chinese government needs to be able to trust their citizens. And currently they don't trust their citizens. They don't trust that their citizens are doing the best that they can to be human beings. And this is simply because of the limit or of corruption in China currently is higher than most countries in the world. And so a typical exemplar of the social credit system is someone with a credit score that's above 700 who's receiving incentives to keep raising and maintaining their credit score. Now, this is important because individuals need to be able to have incentives to actually do something. It is in economics, it's in human resources. It's a common factor that there needs to be incentives for a human being to actually pursue something. Now, the scores are affecting not only citizens, but also governmental entities and corporations. But I'm only going to focus on citizens because I want you guys to know how to better your credit score. Now, the incentives are anything from the range of more matches on a dating website, or being able to buy plane tickets, or having lower interest rates, or rent without deposits, or lower utility bills. But the punishments are what's going to be the biggest thing about this credit system, and it's going to be bans on buying train and airplane tickets, throttling internet speeds. There's going to be no way you can get into the first choice school if you have a low credit score or your children. And credit is easy to move. But with the social credit system that China is enacting, it's going to be even easier. There, on my second slide on my presentation, there is going to be 3 different factors on your social credit score. First factor is going to be not only the credit, but the traditional output. And so that's going to be how you spend, what you spend on, and how often you spend. And the second one is social input. So that's if you have a criminal record, if you jaywalked, if you have a misdemeanor, if you sped. All those things can throttle your credit scores simply by a drop of a dime. There's also an online input, and that can be wasting too much time playing video games or even online shopping and spending way more than you need to. They will monitor your online uses and throttle your credit score that way. However, you can also raise your credit score by being an upstanding human being. You can do more for your life instead of playing video games and online shop, and you can have a better credit score, and you can have a healthier life, and you can be happier that way. Now I want to quote an individual who wrote an article about how the credit system is really going to affect China. And this individual's last name is Song. And she says, "Indeed, many measures introduced as part of a social trust are intended to curb official corruption, tackle official dereliction, and improve efficiency in enforcing court decisions, as well as punish unethical behaviors demonstrated of professionals such as lawyers, doctors, and teachers." Now, this part's really important because not only is the social credit system going to monitor how you act as a human being, it's also going to monitor which teachers are going to be the best to teach your students, which teachers are going to teach your students the most ethical way to be a human being and to raise their credit scores, because those teachers' credit scores will go down once they teach something unethical. Now, the Chinese government has not enacted this program yet, and it's going to be enacted in 2020. And the effects they cannot fully predict, but this is what they think is going to happen. The credit scores are going to be public for corporations and businesses, which could be something really bad because there is no law against a business or corporation turning away someone for low credit score. And that's something that a lot of people have. And having a low credit score and trying to find a job is just going to get harder and harder to do, especially when your spending and how much you bring in is affecting your credit score. But China is also trying to build their trust with their citizens by raising incentives, and they know that people will follow incentives. So maybe this might work with the Chinese government wanting to trust their individuals. However, the citizens of China currently, most of them don't have bank accounts. I should say most. Some of them don't have bank accounts, and that's because they can't afford overdraft fees, and they also can't afford to They can't afford overdraft fees. And so this system might be able to have the Chinese government help their citizens own bank accounts so that the economy can work in the way it's supposed to. And that way they can save money, they can have a bank account, and then they can get those incentives that are given out from the Chinese government. Now, like I said, this is a highly controversial topic, but very important. There are perks and downsides for the citizens, and humans are highly adaptable. However, if humans don't like something that's going to change, there's going to be an uproar. But if they do like something that was going to change, there could be economic growth that increases, and it could have a financial stability increase as well. Now, I can voice my opinions, but the actress could not on Black Mirror, and I hope that everybody knows they can voice their opinions too. But we do need to raise our credit scores for the better of our country.